welcome back to this video series about the KnowledgeSmart Skills Assessment Report template. This video will focus on your results analysis. When selecting filters from your people or assessment filter pages, always keep in mind where does that data come from. So, in other words, if I'm going to be focusing on results analysis, it might be best for me to select filters from my assessment filters area because that comes from my results export part of the consolidated data export. So you will notice when you look at the consolidated data export that we also have data fields and some of the user data displayed on that export. And this means that in addition to the filters that you see here on the screen, you can also segment via one of your unique data fields or perhaps job title, if you like, as an example. So let's go and take a look. If we just make sure that there are no filters selected at the moment, we can also click the reset button just to make 100% sure. And then we head over to number 8, which is called Results Overview. Now, the first thing I notice is that I'm able to filter to a specific test name or a result score grade. So you might ask, what are the result score grades? We've got priority development, which is scores below 50, considered development, which is scores between 50 and 79, and star users, which is scores above 80. And what this helps you do is just segment and group your results a bit. Now, on the y-axis here, we've got result ID. You might replace this with full name if you like, but most companies prefer not to show the full name in visualizations. You'll be happy to learn that when you hover over a specific bar, you can always see the relevant full name in that handy tooltip that comes up. Now, we are looking on the x-axis at the average score and average time taken in minutes. So we're able to look at accuracy and time taken. So here we can see that Annie the architect scored 91%, which is good, and she completed her assessment in a cracking 13 minutes. And we also notice her result ID. The other thing that we notice on this visualization chart is that we have two vertical line values. This one here is our average time taken, so our average company time taken. And this is our average score, average company score. So we can compare individual results against our company benchmarks, if you like. If you see that the chart is not displaying ideally, you might just want to head over to visualizations, make sure that you select the chart first, and then head over to this format area here, open up the x-axis, and you'll see that you can indicate the start and the end figure for your chart. So there we might change this to 95, and you can see the chart sort of repositions and it just looks a little bit better. So that is a handy tip if you want to just have the chart display a bit better. You can also change this to the stacked bar chart, which offers a slightly different visualization. But for now, we'll just keep it at the clustered bar chart option. Let's head over to our next results visualization, which is our scatter chart. Now, this one has been very popular during our customer conversations. We've got the results score grade as a legend, and we've applied some conditional formatting here. So the priority development individuals are shown with a red triangle. The blue square is considered development, and the star users is shown as a yellow diamond shape. So when I look at this scatter chart, I can easily see that most of my users are currently falling into the considered development results score grade. I can also look at our company time and score average to look at how did the users compare against these company benchmarks. If I want to create some focus, I can also slide these bars up and down to just create some focused attention on the scatter chart. So have a play with that one. You can easily update these icons and colors if you like. Next up, we head over to general statistics. So this is where you can learn a bit more about activity on your admin dashboard, how many accounts you have, how many users you have, how many users actually has a result ID, how many different assessments have been completed, how many users have an expiry date in the last 30 days that you might need to go and check out and resend an invite, and the number of users with incomplete invites, so they're currently sitting in not started or in progress. And then here we are looking at highest ranking users and lowest ranking users. Once again, we've just shown the result ID, but if you hover your mouse over the bar, you will see the full name and the test name linked to that score. Then we've got a page called Assessment Results Statistics, and this is where we start showing you how you can group your results based on groups within the data export. So here at the top we are looking at results per job title, and that is of course on the x-axis, and then on the y-axis we've got average score, average time taken in minutes, and count of training tag. So we can very quickly see that our construction manager group generated the most training tags, and we can see that the facilities manager completed the assessment in the fastest time, and we can also see that our architects scored the highest. When we hover our mouse over the bars, we get a bit more information. Once again, which test does this relate to, and which are the relevant training tag values. If I need to take an export of that focus data, I can click Export Data here. Bottom here, we've got results per dynamic group, so just showing you a slightly different way of grouping your results. Dynamic groups would of course have to be set up on your admin dashboard first, and then exporting your data with that in place. So here we've got a couple of dynamic groups set up, and we can view that same data on the y-axis with our dynamic group names shown on the x-axis. At the top here, I can also filter to a specific account name, test name, or result score grade. Now let's go over to number 12, which is background data dashboard. And this is, of course, background data that is captured on a voluntary basis during the assessment journey. So it's important when you are positioning this data to tell the consumers of the data that it is voluntary for users to answer these questions. Therefore, not all users might be represented here. So on the left-hand side, we are looking at frequency of use, primary learning method, primary industry or discipline, learn country. So if they learned in a different country to where they're working, this could impact standards or compliance regulation or other things. So it's important to know in which country they learned. And then here on the bottom right, we give you the ability to compare the average self-rating versus the average score, and that is segmented by test name. So here we are not seeing self-rating percentages because for the demo data group, they did not answer those questions. But if your team answered them, then they would appear here. And the yellow one, the yellow part of the bar would be count of result ID, just so that you can also see how many people were involved in calculating those averages. At the top here, you can go down to a specific account name, or you can also use groups. Perhaps you've created a static group and you want to navigate to a specific group name. Now next up we have benchmark comparisons. So on the top here we're showing you a possibility of analyzing score. And so on the x-axis we've got job title, and on the y-axis average score. We've got two line values here, so we've got a company average score, and then we've got the count of result IDs in yellow. So we can easily see that only our architects really scored above the company average, and we can see what is the deviation between the average score and the company average. It's also useful just to see how many people actually took that assessment that falls into this category, so that you know how much weight to give that data. Then at the bottom here, similarly, we're looking at benchmark analysis for time. So once again, here I've just used a different data field, which is dynamic group name, and our dynamic groups are split into studios. So I can see that Studio 3 completed the assessment in 12.25 minutes, which is rather quick. I can then compare that against the score, and I can see, did they complete it and get a high score, or did they perhaps complete the assessment in a very fast time, not giving too much time and attention, which impacted their score. So once again, the yellow line is count of result ID, and the red line is the company average. So at the top here, I can go to a specific filter. I can see here that we were looking at the Revit architecture assessments, and we can also drill down to a specific account name. In our next video, we will start taking a look at training tag analysis and also training requests and skip questions. So see you